Hello, my name is Scott Wilson from Pearson. I'm here to walk you through the Kentucky TestNav training for spring 2023. Online testing in Kentucky has basically two components. The first part, Pearson Access Next. This is where you will manage student data and the online test sessions. There is a secure site, which is blue that you see here. And there is a training site where the background here will be brown instead of blue. The second component is TestNav. This is actually the student test delivery engine. Your technology staff will verify that the installation of the TestNav app is on all of the student testing devices prior to testing. For TestNav, there is an online support page. There is a link here. This page includes instructions for setup, troubleshooting steps, technical bulletins, and recently updated section for all the recent updates. Additionally, on the site, you will see the system requirements. This has all of the current requirements for TestNav. Again, your technology folks should have all of this set up for you, and it will need to meet all of the requirements that are listed on the site. Most students have used TestNav previously, but it's always good to have a refresher for them, and also for new students that have never had the experience TestNav. The best way to do that is to use the student TestNav tutorials. These are designed to help students become familiar with the navigation, the different TestNav tools, and the different item types that are in TestNav. The tutorials are located on the Kentucky portal. Once a student gets into the tutorial, there is a try it feature. This allows the students to read about a function and then click try it and try it out for themselves. To start the tutorials, the student will access it through the URL on their browser. The TestNav screen will appear. So here you'll see examples of the TestNav screens for the grade 3 through 5 tutorial, grade 6 through 12 tutorial, and the accommodated tutorial. Once the student clicks on start, a welcome screen will appear. This welcome screen introduces the tutorial and talks about the 3 different parts that the tutorial will go through. Those parts are moving through the test, using the tools in the test, and then working with the different question types. The next screen they will see is the getting started. This shows what they will do and how they will do to sign into the test when they are doing a regular test. The screen here is part of the tutorial, and it will show them what they need to do and how they need to do it to sign in. This screen as well shows the terms and condition and the student honor code. The students will have to check the I agree to terms and conditions box and then click continue in order to continue on with the test. For each part of the test, there will be a seal code. And depending upon the subject, there are multiple seal codes for mathematics, reading, and social studies. The next screen that the students will see in the tutorial is the parts of the screen page. This picture will show and identify all of the different parts of the TestNav 8 screen. This is the bar that goes across the top of the screen. It will show the back and next buttons, the review and bookmark buttons, the TestNav toolbar, where they will see the accessibility tools, the test and the part that they are in, as well as the question number. The review button lets the students go back and review their answers at any time. When the review button is selected, it shows all of the questions in that part of the test. The review list shows the question number as well as the number of questions in the part that the student has not yet answered. Bookmark questions will also be displayed here with a small blue ribbon. When a student selects to bookmark an item, they click the bookmark button and it will mark the item to review later. When that is selected, the blue bookmark ribbon appears next to the question on the review list. When the student reaches the end of a part of the test, they will see the end of part screen. The orange and the blue section buttons tell the students how many questions are not answered and how many questions were bookmarked. Students should go through all and answer all of the questions before they go on to the next section. As I mentioned earlier, the reading, mathematics, and social studies will have a Part A and a Part B in spring 2023. When the student does get to the end of a section, there will be a Submit Section button. When they click on that button, there'll be a section exit warning that will pop up. This tells the student that they are about to leave a section, and once they exit, they are not allowed to return. So if they select yes, the students cannot come back to this section later. Exiting and resuming the test later. To exit a test before completing it, students will select the button next to their name in the upper right-hand corner and then sign out of TestNav. Students will then select the Save and Return Later button. Again, the reading, mathematics, and social studies will have Part A and Part B. Submitting the test. When a student is finished with the test, whether it's Part A or Part B, they will select Submit Final Answers button. Again, they will get a confirmation that says Test Submit warning, verifying that they do want to submit their final answers. If they click Yes, Submit Final Answers, they will not be able to return to the test. All right, next in the tutorial will be about how to use the tools in the test. So once in the toolbar, the students can select the tool button to open a tool. To choose a tool, students will select the button again or select the pointer tool. Students can only use one tool at a time. Students will see tools only on questions where they are allowed to use them. The pointer tool, this is basically your regular cursor. You will use this to select an answer, drag an answer to a choice in the correct spot, to mark objects, and to turn other tools on and off. The Notepad tool, students can use notes during the test by using the Notepad tool. To move the Notepad screen, students will select the top of the Notepad and drag it around where they want it on the screen. Selecting the Notepad button again will close the Notepad. If the students close the Notepad and return to the question later, they will see their notes again by selecting the Notepad button. For reading, the notes are saved for the whole passage. For other tests, the notes are saved for each question. Next, we have the TextHelp text-to-speech tool. The purpose of the TextHelp Read and Write for TestNav extension is to provide a suite of access tools which can be used by students with disabilities who require testing accommodations on secure state summative assessment. This information pertains to the text-to-speech function being used in Kentucky assessments. The toolbar shown here will be the toolbar that students will see for text-to-speech. Each of the features of that text-to-speech toolbar are listed here. The first feature is the click speech and hover speech. The second feature is the play. The third feature is the pause. The next feature is the stop button, the black box. And then there is a settings button as well. The user can use this to change reading speed, colors of synchronized highlighting, and the behavior of the click and hover button. Calculators. Calculators will be available on some item sets. On the item sets that allow a calculator, either a for-function, a scientific, or graphing calculator will appear when the calculator button is selected. To open a calculator, students will select the calculator button. To move the calculator around, the students will simply click on it and drag it around. Students can select the buttons or use the keyboard to use the calculator. Clicking on the calculator button again will close the calculator. As I mentioned, there are three types of calculators: the for-function, a scientific, or a graphing calculator. Students will not see all of the calculators together on an item during the test. Next is the dictionary. To open the dictionary, students will select the dictionary button, and then the students can search for a word. One thing to note, the dictionary is only available on the on-demand writing test. Next, we have the answer eliminator. It's the button that looks like an X. Multiple choice and multiple select questions have the answer eliminator. Students can use this tool to cross out answer choices they think are incorrect. Next is the highlighter tool. To highlight words, students can use the highlighter tool. They can click and drag the mouse over the words they want to highlight. Then they can choose the color of the area that they want to be highlighted. Selecting the words again and choosing unhighlight will remove the highlighting. There are also tools listed in the user drop-down menu. So in the upper right-hand corner by the student name, there will be tools there. These tools include changing the background and foreground color, enabling the magnifier, the line reader mask, and enable answer masking. The color contrast tool lets students choose the color of the words and the screen. So after they select change the background and foreground color from the drop-down menu, the color choices will appear. Students will then select their choice and click continue. The color settings will show until another choice is made. The magnifier tool, this lets students make part of the screen larger. After selecting the magnifier tool from the user dropdown, students can drag the magnifier over the area they want to make larger. Students will then select disable magnifier and enter their answer. The zoom function, students can use the zoom to enlarge the entire screen. They click on the zoom and then increase the percentage to enlarge the screen. Line reader mask tool. This helps students focus on one part of a question or a reading passage at a time. Students will select the show line reader mask from the drop-down menu, then drag the line reader mask over the question or the reading passage. To close the reader mask, students will go back to the user drop-down menu and select hide reader mask. The answer masking tool, this lets students choose which answer choices will show on the screen. After selecting the enable answer masking from the drop-down menu, all of the answers will be masked. To show a masked answer, the students will select the eye icon next to the answer choice. They can hide them all. They can click on a couple if they only want to see a couple. Again, all of these tools, they can practice in the tutorial. They will be able to go through the tutorial, read about the tool, and then click the try it button and actually try it. Now we'll move into working with test questions. The tutorial will teach students how to work with the different types of question that may be on the test. And some of the functions like scrolling. Students may need to scroll to get to the bottom of a page or a passage. They could have multiple choice questions, multiple select questions. There is an equation editor that is part of the math short answer questions. There are short answers in other content areas as well. There are extended responses, and there could be technology enhanced items. The glossary, this is set up on an item basis as needed. So if an item has a word that needs to be glossed, it will be encircled as you see here. They click on the word and the glossary definition will appear. Multiple choice questions. These questions will have the circle next to the answer choice, and there is only one correct answer. The student will just click on whichever answer choice they want to select. Multiple select questions have several answer choices and allow for 2 choices to be made. These will have a square next to the A, B, C, D, and E. And again, there for multiple select, there are 2 correct questions, and a student can only select 2. If they try to select 3, it will not allow until they unselect one of the previous 2. Next is the equation editor. So for mathematics, if there is a short answer, It could include the equation editor like this. They will type their work in the work box for here, for example, A, using the keyboard and the math symbols. After the work is shown, the answer is entered in answer box C. For short answer and extended response questions, students will type answers into the response box. They will click inside the response box, here listed as A, to begin. Pressing enter twice will start a new paragraph. Do not use the tab key. The toolbar B can be used to make words bold, italic, underline, bullets or numbering can be added. The answer may be longer than in the space in the response box. If a student fills the box, a scroll bar will appear on the side, and this will be used to see all of the writing. Students do not need to use all of the space, but it is available and it will scroll in here once the student gets past the size of the box. On-demand writing will not have a character counter, as you see up here for this that says 5,000. There is no limit or no counter on the on-demand writing. Students could also see technology enhanced items. For TEI items, students will have a variety of ways to answer the questions. And it could include the things on the list here: drag and drop, number line, inline choice, fill in the blank, line graph, system of equations, a function graph, coordinate plane, hot text, or table grid. Here we have an example of a drag and drop item. This was on the tutorial. As you can see, the students can read about what they need to do and then click the try it button and drag the boxes as appropriate. The summary page, this informs the students they have reached the end of the tutorial. It contains additional instructions to select submit final answers to finish the tutorial. Next, we have a resource list. All of the pages here have valuable information for any questions you may have. You can go to these links and pretty much get all of the information that you need. Contact information for KDE and for Pearson. There is a number and email for KDE and the number of the Pearson help desk. Questions. So for all of your questions, please bring your questions to the February DAC and BAC training sessions, and we will be happy to answer all of your questions. Thank you for your time.